Hello, everyone, and welcome to Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. We are live tonight and we are going to be talking about living your soul's path. And as you are joining in, please do say hello and let me know you're watching and let me know where you're from. I'm still waiting for Facebook to adjust this video so that I can see comments. They don't seem to be happening right this second. We will see. But as you're joining in again, make sure you say hello. It looks like it's still not quite working, but I will keep chatting until we see what happens. And so, as I said, we are going to be talking about your soul's path. And just to let you know who I am Colleen Vanderzijden. I'm a registered medium here at Lilydale Assembly. I'm also a certified intuitive life coach, author of the book Courageously You, and let's see what else. That's about it. Spiritual teacher. Okay, and I'm still checking this, and I'm not convinced it's working. So hold on, everybody, in case you are. He's texting me. Wait, that's not helping me. Okay, hold on. I am just going to text myself or look at my own page on Facebook and see if I can see myself. Something's not working. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, I think it's working, everybody. It took a little bit to log in there, and it took a while to get on Facebook, so I'm just going to start over. It was a little strange right there for a second. So, welcome to Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. I am Colleen Vanderzijden, the host of the show. I'm a registered medium at Lilydale, a certified intuitive spiritual life coach, author of the book Courageously You. And I just love doing my show every week and talking about some ideas to help you live your best life. And tonight we are going to be talking about your soul's path. And we're going to talk a little bit about, when life is complicated or painful, and the possibility that some of those situations we have are part of a bigger picture to help us evolve into our soul so we can live in the truth of our soul. So that is what we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm also going to do some mini soul readings. I will not be talking very long, so there will be lots of time tonight for some mini soul readings and, of course, to answer your questions. And before we get to all of that, let's do some details. We have lilydaleassembly.org, the official website where you can find everything that is happening in Lilydale this summer. Summer season opens June 21st. There are Zoom workshops, etc. before season opens. And we have a big event for the eclipse, April 6th through 8th. Lots of workshops, vendors. It's going to be like a psychic fair kind of thing. Lots of vendors and things to do. And with the workshops, so that's April 6th through 8th. Guest houses will be open. The coffee shop will be open. So we're going to be doing an early opening in a way. So come on to Lilydale, April 6th through 8th, and you can have some fun with us for the eclipse. And Lilydale Assembly Incorporated is the official Facebook page. You can also find all of the events there. My Facebook page, Colleen Vanderzijden, medium and intuitive life coach. You need to be on that page if you are going to ask a question or if you want a mini soul reading, and so I can see your comments. Okay, so if you're on the Lilydale page and you think you're going to want to ask questions, make comments, have a mini reading, come on over here. So let me just say hello to people and see who has joined us. We had a little technical difficulties starting, but we're all good. Hi, Julie. Hi, Bambi. And Sam. Hi, Fran. Cassandra, Allison, Debbie, Sherry, Alyssa, Linda, Ellen. And it's scrolling really fast on me again. So thank you for joining me tonight. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? There was something else I can't remember, so it's not important. So we are talking, as I said, about your soul's path. Okay, now last week we talked about the soul's purpose, right? We talked about what our purpose is in living as our soul. It is to step into the love and light that is our soul, our essence, who we truly are, and that our purpose is how we uniquely express that love and light into the world. It is not necessarily what we do, but it's more of who we are and how we do things. And so we talked about that last week. So this week, I wanted to talk about the soul's path, or the plan that a soul might have had, because it's been interesting. way back a few years ago, not that far ago, Spirit told me I needed to start doing soul readings. And I was not really sure what that was. I thought, okay, if you say so. So I started doing soul readings. And what I ended up learning through Spirit was that our souls, it's before we came into this physical lifetime, we made some kind of plans. We decided we were going to express our souls in certain ways with certain qualities. So while I was doing these soul readings, I learned a lot about the soul, and it has become something I very much enjoy studying and also sharing with people. So there is this theory out there that our souls have made a plan for this lifetime. And right away, what ends up happening is people go, oh, nope, 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 I didn't make a plan for any of this. And we think immediately of all the pain we've had, the complications in our lives, and we think, no, no, I did not plan that. So, but here's something to think about. What if there's a bigger picture? In our humanness, we don't want any of those problems, right? We don't. But from that bigger picture, our soul might go, hey, you know what? I really want to learn something. I really want to grow. And I'm not saying the soul necessarily growing. I'll talk about that in a sec. But that we want to learn, we want to grow, we want to get to the truth of our soul so we can live in that love and that light, and how important that is. Now, one thing I did learn that on our soul's path is that our path is an internal path. It's the path of our soul. We as humans have been all caught up in our physical existence, our human life. And while that part of our lives is important, it is not necessarily most important. Our soul growth seems to be most important. By that, what I mean is our human growth as we move into the soul. There are quite a few spiritual teachers out there that do talk about the soul, and you may have heard some talking about sacred contracts. Before we came into this physical lifetime, we had these contracts with other people or even with situations. And sometimes people also call those things like soul blueprints, like there's this big plan out there and everything. And, whenever I talk about something here, it is something that I find interesting, but also that Spirit says you will find interesting. So we kind of open up to this idea and just see where we go today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And as I said, I'm going to do some mini soul readings, and I'll also, of course, answer your questions because I love your questions. And I'm going to say hello to more people just to make sure I didn't miss anybody. And I'm so glad you were here. Meg, yes, look at y'all saying hello to each other. I love my audience. You guys are like the nicest people in the world. You're all like, hello, hello, back and forth. It's so wonderful. Susan says it's cold in Maine. I'm glad I'm not up north right now, Susan. I can tell you that. So let's go back to this idea that before you were born, your soul chose some important qualities for you to strengthen or develop in this lifetime so that you could learn and grow, so you could move into living in your soul's truth. And these qualities would be something that would help you really move into that sense of unconditional love and compassion that goes with the soul. So we may have chosen these things before we were born, and based on my experiences so far, I believe that. We'll see how it goes. And I also believe that we may have chosen in advance, if you will, some circumstances to help us develop those qualities, some problems, some challenges, some experiences. Now, and don't worry, I will get to that whole predestined, preordained thing. Okay, I'll get to that. You always have free will. Heads up on that. Okay, so if we decided before we came down, I always do this when a soul reading, when I'm doing a long-term 45-minute soul reading with somebody, I always say things like this. So you were on the other side and you decided you wanted to learn more. You wanted to really step into your soul's power more. So you decided on the other side, you were going to be, like the most loving person in the world. And in your naivete in some ways, on the other side, you're like, It's going to be so easy. I love to be loved so much. So I'm going to go down to earth and I am going to share my love with everyone. And then maybe our guides on the other side said, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, honey. Let me just remind you life on earth is not the same as it is on the other side. So we go, no, no, I've got this. I've got this. And so they go, okay. And then we come down to earth, right? Or into earth, however you want to phrase that. And we're babies and we can't talk and we can't do anything. So we have this yearning, our soul yearning to express this love in the world, but we really can't do it yet. And by the time we are developed enough physically where we can do this, we've kind of forgotten some things, like our connection to the other side. So our souls are like calling us to do this. So we come down, we've got a reason to be here. We want to share some part of us. So if, let's, for example, say one of your qualities, one of your reasons for coming into this physical lifetime was that you wanted to be an empath, right? An empath, and so many of you are empaths. We are the kind of people who really want to help people. We have the ability to feel what other people are feeling. We're highly intuitive. We have that sensitive nature there. And so we came here and we're being so kind to people. And then before we know it, as we're growing up and getting older, we meet people who are not quite the same way we are. And maybe they take advantage of us. Or maybe, as is a law so far in my mind, if you're an empath, you are going to have a narcissistic relationship somewhere. It is the way it is. Okay, so you get that narcissist in your life. And as an empath, you're going, what's going on? Why is this person not understanding me? Why are they treating me like this? Why is it always about them? Why do they never respond to me as though they really heard me? And what ends up happening lots of times is the empath eventually gets back in their power and recognizes the narcissist is not good for them. And maybe they end the relationship, whatever they have to do, right? But we as empaths can learn so much from a narcissist, and they can help us get back into that quality we came into this lifetime to express. Okay, being an empath is amazing. And if you're struggling with being an empath, I am teaching a workshop this summer called The Courageous Empath at Lilydale, and you can learn more about empaths there. Okay, so say you also came into this lifetime, and maybe this time you said, you know what, I'm going to go down to earth and I am going to give, and really, really help people. And then what happens as we're living is, again, people take advantage of us, or we're giving so much and we don't get appreciation back. And so we feel badly about that. Why don't they acknowledge everything I'm doing for them? Right? And eventually, though, we have to get back to our soul's truth, and we recognize that being a giver means we also have to learn how to set boundaries so we can be a giver from a heart-centered, that's what I'm trying to say, heart-centered manner. Okay, so we do it from our heart, but we also recognize if someone does not want our help, if they don't want our help, we go, that's okay. So we recognize there is a boundary between ourselves and other people. So you see what we've got going here. We have qualities we came into this life to express, and then we have experiences where we get to learn how to better express them, or to strengthen our ability to express those. Another one would be if you came down here with that trusting, beautiful, naive nature, and you trust everybody, and then they steal stuff from you, or they betray you, they don't treat you that way, and then eventually you'll learn you cannot trust everyone. You have to be discerning, and that also takes you to trusting your gut. If it doesn't feel right, you trust yourself. So all of these experiences are here to help you get stronger in who you really are at the soul level. Now I'm just going to do a little scroll back here and see the comments we've got going here. Susan says she's just reading The Well-Lived Life, many references to the soul. I just love talking about the soul. Last year and a half, 2 years, that's all I'm talking about. Hello, everybody. Jan, Annette, and Jan, nice to see you here. And Annette and Doug and Alex. What does the soul want me to do? We'll talk about that more. Pamela's saying, I was just told the reason I can't let go of a long ago love is because we had a past life together. What would your thought be on this? And how many of you out there have had that feeling, a past life together? And we have soul connections with so many people because I do believe in reincarnation. Some people do, some people don't. And I believe that our souls like to experience the different lifetimes and also back to our humanness learning. And if, well, there's a lot to be said there, Pam, and I don't think I want to go into the depth of it all just because it'll take me way off track. But it's something to consider if that long ago love, even if it was from a past life, does not mean it has to be in this life. Okay, I have met a sister, a prior husband, another sister from past lives, and they're not really in my life. So they don't have to be, but anyway, maybe I'll come back to that, Pam. Lots of things. Okay. So, soul connections are amazing. So, now another thing. So, we have the qualities. We come into this physical life. Oh, before I get to that, I just want to remind you if you are watching right now on Lilydale Assembly Incorporated official Facebook page and you think you want a mini soul reading, which I'll do in a little bit, or need to ask questions, make a comment, you need to be on my Facebook page so I can see your comments. So, that's Colleen Vanderzijden, medium and intuitive life coach. Okay? Gotcha. Okay, now the other thing, we've got the qualities coming in, the qualities we're going to express so we can live in our soul's truth of love and light. Also, we may have made soul agreements with other people for them to help us or for us to help them. And it could be for our own evolution. It could be to heal something, maybe from a past life, to help us become the best version of ourselves. And so that can also be at play. So, for example, this is the one that everybody just like goes crazy about. The idea that we chose our parents before we came into this lifetime. And I remember a friend of mine, we were talking about this many years ago, and her parents told her that, well, you chose us before you came in this lifetime. She, my friend, did not like this because I guess it wasn't all smooth sailing in her house. And she's like, no, that can't be right because it made her feel like it was her fault that she was in a situation that was not pleasant. Okay, and I don't believe her situation was totally unpleasant, but who knows? So she didn't like that idea because it made her feel like it was she had done something wrong. And that is not necessarily the case. And we think about this in terms of abuse. You have emotional or physical abuse, and we think to ourselves, why would I choose that? Obviously not. We as humans would not choose that. But what about, hold on, I'm writing that down, Pamela, about adoption. What if, though, our soul made an agreement with somebody else and that said, you know what, I want to learn more about standing in my power. I want to learn more about loving myself. And the other person says, so to speak, well, we could be in this situation where, you're abused, verbally abused or whatever, and you'll have to learn something about that. Okay, it's an interesting concept. Okay, if it doesn't resonate, don't take it, of course. But there's something about this, and what it really boils down to is using our situations to step into our love and light as much as we can, to learn as much as we can. Now, there could be some past life balancing going on there, like maybe, and it's not a karmic debt where you're being punished thing. Maybe it's, you were in a relationship with somebody and you abused them. This time around, you're going to reverse it or whatever. I don't know, but it's an idea. Nonetheless, if you choose at some level a much bigger picture that your soul is choosing something so you can experience it for whatever reason it might be, you now have the choice of what you're going to do with that. You have not done anything wrong. Okay, there's nothing wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. It's not your fault. You're not being punished. Okay, you're really not. Everything is about growing and learning in this physical lifetime so we can get closer to our soul. So this is kind of some theories and thoughts on your soul's path. And some things maybe we decided we were going to go through in advance, if you will, and other things may have just come up. Our vibration may have attracted them for whatever reason. So, what I'm going to do next is I want to talk a little bit about some thoughts to consider when you want to get more clarity on your soul's path. But before we do that, we have to look at the comments because I see a whole bunch coming by right now. And so I want to make sure I catch them. Yes, everybody, you guys love the soul so much, just like me. Thank you, Lynn. What about adoption? Okay, Pamela asked about adoption. So, yeah, right? In theory, if I follow that theory a little further, someone who is adopted would, supposedly, their soul would decide that that is going to be the case for whatever reason. Part of their evolution to move into that love and kindness and the expression of the soul. There are so many layers with adoption. We have, a lot of times people who have been adopted have abandonment issues, when your mother rejects you, and it may or may not be that case. Okay, and so it's important sometimes for that soul to learn to love itself and also recognize the other people who have loved them as well. And maybe the birth mother loved that child so much that that was the best solution at the time. So there's lots of different ways we can look at situations. In order to grow from them, we want to try to stay out of the more negative emotions that kind of, they don't hate me, they don't like me, etc., etc. So we want to look at that from as broad a perspective as we can. Yes, and Greg is saying, Edgar Casey says we do choose our family of origin, but not because they are perfect, but our soul chose to learn something from the experience, right? Yeah, and sometimes we do get caught up in the I would never do that. And that's our human part talking. I can't tell you how many people say to me, this is my last lifetime. And I'm going, yeah, I doubt it. Our souls are so much wiser than we humans are. They really are. Keith, would love to hear what you say about why I see through so many past lives. I'm actually eating tacos for dinner, having just found your live stream. Well, I hope you're enjoying your dinner. Yeah, past lives are so interesting. Part of the reason some of these theories have come about is that from past life regressions, people have talked about what happened in the past and how this lifetime they are changing things up, if you will, using the information from the past life and bringing that forward here and maybe healing something that happened in the past or using those qualities again, going in a different direction, whatever it might be. Just a few thoughts on that. Let's see. I struggle with the soul's journey of discover and living in an abusive home, right? Is there free will where the agreement isn't upheld? Absolutely. So let's see. Let me look at my little notes here because here's the thing. We always have free will. We always have free will. Even if we have planned things out before we came into this physical life and our souls were so brave and courageous in thinking we could tackle so much, and we come into this physical life and it's too much, we have free will to go in different directions, and remember, this is probably the whole point of everything I'm going to talk about tonight, is that we can take whatever has happened in our lives and use it as an opportunity to grow and learn. This does not mean we approve of what's happened. This does not mean we like what's happened. This does not mean that we aren't traumatized by something that has happened. But from all of that, we can still look at these situations and look at ourselves, and maybe we recognize how strong we are. Maybe we learn to recognize that we are worthy and deserving of love and relationships where people truly love us. And it's okay to be angry at people who mistreat us. That's okay and perfectly fine. It's really important to recognize that you are not tied into anything. Even if your own soul says, I'm going to go down to earth and I'm going to do these things, that doesn't mean you are going to necessarily accomplish all of those things or achieve them or have 100% success. But the best you can do to live as your soul is a success, even if it's a little bit. A little bit is wonderful. And so it's okay for us to recognize our wonderful qualities as well as the other shadow sides of ourselves where we're trying to deny those qualities about ourselves. To live as our soul, in our truth, we love all parts of ourselves. Not just the loving, kind, compassionate version, but also the hateful, nasty, complaining version. And we go, oh, I see what's happening. And then we shine some love and light on that part of ourselves and love ourselves. So much of our path, the soul's path, is about learning to express unconditional love, not only to other people, but also to ourselves. So, a few ideas to think about to get more clarity on your soul's path. Like, where are you heading? What's going on? What is it your soul wants to express through you? And sometimes people say that the soul needs to grow or the soul needs to evolve. But whenever I hear that or even say it, my own head goes, on that, because my impression, my belief so far is that our soul is already perfect. Our soul is the love and light of the divine, which means we are as well. Sometimes we have a little disconnect from our soul to our human physical bodies and how we express ourselves. And that's okay. That's why we're here on the physical earth, because we're learning to reconnect to our soul. So another thought I had is our soul is perfect and our soul is divine, and maybe the soul wants to experience everything in the world, if you will, the universe even. The soul wants to experience everything. The love, the pain, the kindness, the fear, forgiveness, challenges, healing, because the soul is whole as it is and is one with everything. It's the oneness. The soul is one with the divine. The soul is one with your neighbor, your dog, a bug. We are all one. So if the soul is one and whole and experiences all of this, that's how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to experience everything that's here. We are supposed to be all things. When we're living as our soul, we are being, we are living. So it's not that the soul itself is growing or evolving. It's the human part of us as we're moving into alignment with our soul. And that makes the most sense to me. As humans, remember, part of our purpose is to express our love in our own unique way. How we each express it is going to be different from everybody. So we're here to do this, and we're here to learn from those experiences so we can get closer to our soul and its truth. And my theory, if you watched before, you know this is huge in my life. This is a foundational belief for me, is that everything is an opportunity to choose to learn more about ourselves so we can move toward living in our soul's truth. We can take every situation and learn from it. Again, this doesn't mean we approve of things that have happened. Okay? If we've had a horrible, traumatic situations, life is painful and life can be difficult, complicated, and very hard. That's how life is these days. But that doesn't mean we have to step into it to such an extent where we step into the pain and everything. Once we've processed some, of course, we got to process those emotions, but that doesn't mean we have to step into it to such a depth that we are drowning in quicksand. Okay, we have the power to still learn from things. It may not be immediately. Okay, if you're in an abusive relationship, what I'm saying right now is the last thing you want to be hearing. Okay, you got to survive. You've got to reclaim your power, get your power back enough to start making decisions to remove yourself from an abusive situation. That is the first thing that has to happen. As time goes on, you'll be able to look back and go, you know what? Look what I learned. Look what I did. I'm a strong person. I did this. I got help where I needed it. I found people who helped me, whatever it might be that you could possibly have learned. It's tricky, isn't it? You know, life is very interesting at times. We'll just put it that way. Okay, now, and Juliet, how do you explain people who are low lives? I know a few. Um, let's just say that where their path is where their path is. Um, Maybe in this incarnation, that is what their path is. Maybe they're doing their best, and even if they are low lives and maybe struggle with kindness, caring, etc., integrity, maybe with that, but maybe that's their path in this lifetime, which does not mean, though, that at some point they don't wake up or their soul calls them to go in a different direction. Right now, because of the consciousness shift that's been happening and is still happening and is accelerating even more, a lot of people are waking up and realizing, wait a minute, this is not how I want to live my life. Or they're looking at their life and going, there's got to be something more to this. There has to be. And that is enough to start them on a journey and an adventure to start to find out how to live a better life. We've all met people who have no money at all, like are just so poor, but they're so happy. How is that possible? There's something in their soul where they recognize the joy, and maybe it's okay. Money's not that big a deal in terms of ruining everything for them. Maybe they know how to get by, and they're so grateful for their friends and family that the joy shines through. So with this, we also think about, why would we want to live as our soul? Like, why would we want to do that? Why would we want to be one with it? Because we'd be moving into the divine, universal, limitless energy. If we want to live like this, we want to live as our soul's truth, we are going to have more joy. The joy is within us. It's already there. It's in our soul. Our soul is the divine, the love, the light, compassion, kindness, joy. All of that is inside of you, even though you might not recognize it sometimes. It might get buried up from some life stuff. Okay, it's still in there. It hasn't gone away. It's like a spark within you. It doesn't get blown out. Okay, it's not going to be extinguished. Your soul is always this way. So we want to be living as our soul so we can learn that self-love and that unconditional love. And our physical human existence, life, is going to be so much better. We will have so much more joy, connections with other, and peace. So to think about this, let me check comments. Okay. Leanne, you're so wise. You're always so wise. It is possible because we live on a beautiful planet surrounded by beautiful souls. She's talking about the money thing. She says money is a tool that some of us have learned to build without. We all know people who are motivated by money. Lots of times they're not the nicest people in the world. And then we know other people who just really want to be there for others, to share what they know or to support, encourage, love. And money does not motivate them. It just doesn't. It's amazing. So when we think about this, to learn more about this, some questions to ask yourself or some comments. What did you come here to learn? Okay, and don't like go into this big thinking thing. Okay, and I'm going to ask you more questions, so it'll help. What did you come here to learn? What qualities are important to you? Okay, if integrity is important to you, you already know it. This is something that is calling you already. Okay, what has been the biggest lesson for you in this life? Okay? And if you look back at your life, you'll start to see some situations, and maybe they came back over and over and over. So, for the empaths who struggle with boundaries, right? We think we've taken care of it, we spoke up, we talked about our boundaries, and then another situation comes up and we have to do it again. It's just another layer to strengthen our empathic skills as we set up our boundaries. So, think about this. I like to call it like a soul theme. So, what do you keep learning? When I look back on my life and look back on who I used to be, who I am now, I recognize from my experiences and the things that have kind of called to me that part of my path, my soul's path, was to learn to believe in myself. And in order to do that, I had to discover who I really am. And as I've worked with this for the past 2.5 decades, I've realized so much of it is me learning to trust myself, which means I'm trusting my soul, which means I'm trusting the divine. They're all the same. Okay. And then the periods of times where I might have had some self doubt, that is a time, right? If I'm going to believe in myself, trust myself, and I have self doubt, that means I'm a little off track, but it's also another opportunity for me to choose to recommit to believing in myself. Okay, this has taught me as well how important it is to prioritize checking in with myself and what is important to me. What are my needs? What are my wants? How can I have more joy? If I catch myself people pleasing, trying to keep everybody else happening, I've disconnected from myself and my soul. And I recognize that, and I can take a step back and recognize, what is my motivation for helping the people? Is it to avoid a conflict? Is it to keep them happy, sacrificing my own stuff? And I can recognize this and go, wait, nope, stop. This is not really believing in myself. This is not trusting myself. So that is part of my soul's path. And I bet some of you may be very similar to mine in that way, right? It's so interesting. Let's see. Another thing. Well, I gotta see what Keith said because this looks interesting. I believe we are resonating spirit from soul through spaces of time into our current incarnations. That's I'm not sure where we truly are. This earth realm is just a place of space time we are traveling through. It's soul, spirit, mind, body. Absolutely. I am in 100% agreement, right? Soul, spirit, and mind body we're traveling through. Now, for those of you, I've got just a few more things to say, and then I'll be doing some soul readings and answering questions, etc. I do want to mention my Reimagine Your Life retreat, May 3 through 5 in Celeron, New York. It's in Western New York, about 20 minutes from Lilydale and a few minutes from Jamestown, New York. And it's called, as I said, Reimagine Your Life retreat. And we are going to be helping each other, let's say, get more clarity on what kind of life you want to live. Help you get closer to your soul. We do this really cool energetic process that Spirit told me about last year that helps people release limiting beliefs and blocks, helps people release guilt, and it can help heal the pain of the past. It is such a cool process. And we're going to be accelerating your intuition. Greg is going to be doing this process he calls spiritual activation, which is a process to relive and deepen a prior mystical moment or something that was really profound and moving for you. All of this is to move you into living in your soul's truth with that deeper sense of purpose and meaning. So that, as I said, is May 3 through 5, and I just wanted to mention that so you know about that. If you're looking for an in-person event, early bird pricing and hotel discount deadline is April 3rd. Okay, so you've got a little time. The price does include all supplies that you can need, some refreshments and those kinds of things. I'll also be doing a free-for-all one of the evenings where basically I'll answer your questions or do some mini readings, whatever it happens to be, whatever people are looking for. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, so now some other thoughts. Do we have to have pain in this life? Do we have to? It is not predestined. It's not preordained that you have to have it. Now, it's the physical life. We are going to have pain. It's the way it is, okay? But we can recognize it. We can experience that emotion. We can process it to the best of our ability and then move forward, okay? we can respond to life from the attitude, again, of transforming the challenge into a learning opportunity. Not necessarily while you're in the thick of it, but eventually. Okay. There is a divine order, my belief system, that there is a divine order to things and that we are always being guided. So if we're looking for learning and looking to grow, we will be guided to the answers. We absolutely will. Okay. I see somebody's mentioning tragedies. I know, right? There are so many tragedies out there. People have had so much that has happened. And it's an opportunity for our souls, all of our souls, to have more compassion for other people and the journeys that they have been through and are going through, to recognize that our hearts, our souls are big enough to love everyone, no matter anything, just no matter what, every single person. No one is superior. We are all one. We are all equal. We are all a part of that oneness. So there is that divine order there where we will be led to understand and have that compassion also for ourselves. So much of this, again, is breaking down to how you choose to respond to life. Are you going to let it drag you down? Or are you going to do your best to keep moving forward and looking for the learning within it? I know many years ago when I started really working with that idea, it made it so much easier to handle stuff. I could get done with it faster, whatever was going on. If something didn't work out, it was like, okay, what am I learning from this? I'm learning the depth of my love, the depth of my compassion. I'm learning I need to set my boundary. I'm learning that I'm complaining too much. Whatever it is that was showing me how I was either in or out of alignment with my soul. So to discover more about your soul's possible path, just be open to learning is number one. Be open. Be aware. Look at your life situations and see what you've learned from the problems. You've already learned so much. You might start to notice that there are themes there, and they usually come back to things like self-love, love, being in your power, those kinds of things. Our soul's path, so much of it is to be our soul, to be in that love and light. It's recognizing the oneness and the connections we have and the innate joy, peace, and love that is within us all. And truly, our soul's path is to express that love. It's part of our soul's purpose to express that love and learn and grow as humans so we can have the best experience possible. It's amazing, when we start thinking about these. Now, don't get caught up in all this and thinking, I'm caught up in, before I was born, I decided this and this. It's interesting to think about and recognize that maybe you've had a situation where that situation was the only way you could have learned something really important. Okay, so it's to be able to look at these things. Okay, so make sure you are on my page, Colleen Van Der Zijden, medium and intuitive life coach, because I'm going to answer questions and I'm going to give some mini soul readings to people. Is it better to log in if we are a part of your group? Not sure what that means. But there we are. Oh, God, right? Dana, this is a hard question, and I would just as soon not answer it. My question, why would a soul come through to leave at 8 years old through such a horrible, traumatic way, right? I think that is just like heart-wrenching. When we see something happens with a child and they go through the worst experiences, and kids who have cancer or their horrible accidents or abuse that causes death or all of those other horrible, horrible things that can happen. Sometimes, when I think about that, because it's really easy for us as humans to get caught up in that and just feel so sad and so helpless and so powerless. And for me, it helps to some extent to remember that these children who have left so early must have beautiful souls, number one, but also that they are connected, so connected to that divine energy. And sometimes people who have lost children have said that their child in passing, because of the passing, has really taught them the depth of love and how to get into that real, true soul to soul love connection, not to minimize the pain that is caused by this, that losing a child or having a child go through something so traumatic like that. And I wonder too, and this is just me wondering, if that soul, that child who came in here and left early, came in with a specific purpose of spreading more love and joy in this world. We hear stories all the time where people say they came here and they were just so loving. They brought so much love and joy here. And we recognize that gift that they gave us. Yeah, it's a horrible situation. And I don't want to get too caught in that because it's sad. Um, okay. Okay. I don't know what my experience with religion is, but I have a bad relationship with it. Oh, okay. I'm not going to go there either. Okay. Let's see. I saw somebody ask for a soul reading. Somebody asked for a soup reading. Jenna, love a soul mini reading. Okay. So how I do this, everybody, is I touch into the person's soul, and sometimes I see colors, shapes. Sometimes I see past lives even. Sometimes I see qualities. Usually that's what I do first is I see qualities that are important to that person's soul. And lots of times, other people who are watching will say, hey, that made sense to me. If it makes sense to you, you take the information because Spirit wants to get through it to as many people as possible. Okay. So, Jenna, when I touch into your soul, right away, what I see is silver, and silver to me is a spiritual color. It also means alignment to me. I always do this when I see silver. I have no clue why, but what it feels like to me is a channel. I feel a channel. So with you, Jenna, when I feel this channel of silver, I feel the purity of within your spirit. So I've got the silver. I take some notes here so I don't lose track of what I'm saying because I'm channeling and I could go far away. So silver and the purity, I can see, and I wonder, you'll have to tell me if this is accurate. I wonder if when you were younger, you were one of those people who really trusted people, like that beautiful childlike sense of trust that this is somebody who's going to be there for me, who's going to help me, etc., etc. There is this open-hearted part of you that goes with the trust. And so I'm wondering if that's how you were. It's a beautiful childlike energy that I really like. And lots of times, again, people who have come into this lifetime to express that open heart, to express that trust, have had experiences where you had to learn to be discerning and that sometimes you can't live with an open heart. It's a different form of an open heart. We've got the open heart where we put up with everything, and that's like unconditional love gone wrong. Or we have the open heart that we are intentional about how and when we are open-hearted. And that may be something important for you, Jenna. You have a beautiful energy about you. I really like this open heart part with you and that trust. And I'm happy to feel and sense that you have not lost it, that it is still there, even if you may have had some situations that made you doubt or question with that. Part of that too, that sense of open-heartedness and that trusting, there is the feeling as well of you, well, I know you're an empath, wanting to help others too. Yeah, you'll have to let me know if this makes sense. There is that feeling of making sure your boundaries are secure. Okay, and I always tell people we can set them after the fact. Okay, so if something's not feeling right, keep trusting yourself. Okay, so Jenna, I'll just leave that with you. And so you see how that works. It's just the quick little thing where I talk a little bit about them, what's going on, whatever comes through my head mostly is what it is. Okay, so let's see. Doug, that's a good question. Where'd it go? Okay, wait, first. Yes, first, Jenna, very open-hearted, extremely forgiving. I did have to learn that the hard way. The empath that gave and gave, but had to learn boundaries. You're right. I'm super forgiving. I've remained very open even after I help everyone. You teach special ed. That makes sense with a heart like yours. Oh, that makes sense. It gave me goosebumps. Doug says, I see this question all the time. Do animals have a soul? I believe they do. I also agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Because you know how connected we are with our animals, right? How connected we can be. That's a soul to soul connection. And since I'm talking to you, Doug, let's do a little mini reading for you if you want one. Even if you don't, I'm giving you one. So here we go. Doug, oh, your energy is just amazing. Your energy is amazing. I feel this is it's so for everybody, if you've never seen me before, I feel in my body things about the person I'm talking to. If I do a mediumship reading, same thing. So I just feel in my body. So with you, Doug, I'm feeling some pain in my back, number one, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But what I'm feeling with you is such a sense of gratitude and appreciation with you. And it seems to me that you've had your struggles. And I do know you've had a couple, I've noticed a couple things. But there is the sense of you having moved into that wonderful space of looking at life from such an amazing state of gratitude and appreciation. Like, this is amazing. You are in the moment, you are present. Your energy is one that when people are around you, they feel that expansiveness and they feel that love and that gratitude. And it's not that you're like forcing it on them or anything, it's just you being you. And I would expect that many people really like being near you, talking to you. I know that you're very reassuring, and I know that there are people who they love you so much. And you are so amazing about how you reflect back to them their own love. Ooh, how cool is that? I love when I say things and I'm surprised by them. You are just like the ideal person for loving other people and showing them how amazing they are, because I know you're also humble. And with this too is this awesome sense of, I think I want to call it, I know you look for the good, but there's almost an anticipation and excitement in your energy. Like you're eager to live your life. You're eager to talk to people. And I also know sometimes you need to have your space and get your recharge time in. You are a beautiful soul, Doug. If anybody knows Doug personally, you'll have to tell me what you think. Doug, you can also tell me what you think, but I just love your energy. So thanks, Doug, for asking that question, getting my attention, because that was like, wow. That's wild. Ellen, certain music seems to hit my soul. What's that about? Isn't it amazing? Music is music is the closest. Now, I'm going to backtrack. I may have said this last week. I can't remember where I said it because I've been on a few other places, shows and stuff lately. I'm a musician. For those of you who don't know, I'm a professional violinist. And years ago, I did an automatic writing where I asked Spirit why I chose music as a career. Why did I want this? And what I got back was that I chose music because it was the closest I could get to God in this lifetime. Closest I could get with the music. Okay. So music is a soul level response in so many ways. And that's why certain music feels right to us and others don't. So this soul loves certain music. It can take us to a different place. We can transcend our problems even. And we can use music and sound to raise our vibrations. And when we do that, we get closer to living in our soul's love and light as well. And Ellen, since I'm talking to you, so you guys figure out how it goes, you ask a question, get my attention, here we are. And so Ellen, let's give you a little mini soul reading as well. The first thing that comes into my mind with you is joy. Literally the first thing. Like I didn't even have to really touch in, it just happened. And it's joy. And Doug has his way of doing things and he must have so much joy. And you have your way of doing things. And I love your energy, Ellen, because so much of it is looking for the good. It is being in the present moment. It's enjoying whatever is happening, and a true enjoying, not a fake one. It's authentic. That's the other part. You're very authentic and you definitely live in integrity. And this joy is I know you spread it to others as well, similarly to Doug. And also, you're not satisfied with less than what you deserve or want. So there is this, I'm going to call it a calling, but that's not really the word I want. Draw, something. There's a word that means you're not satisfied. And it's not that you're not appreciating what you have or being satisfied with what it is. It's like, I want more. It's that kind of feeling. I want more, and I'm not going to settle for less. And that's what it feels like. And it's a good feeling. It's not one of those desperation kind of feels. It's a good feeling. And you're very good about listening to your inner self too, and just kind of going with what feels right. Yeah, I know so many people must also rely on you for that too. Ah, beautiful soul. Okay, well, thanks, Ellen. I had to go there because I did. That's just the way it was. Next. Okay. I'm just scrolling in case you didn't figure it out. Um, Lauren, how can empaths regain their power? Great question. And I love talking about empaths, so good getting my attention there. Empaths, we as empaths, I'm going to say we because so many of us are empaths, we are so used to reading other people. It's second nature. We don't even know we're doing it sometimes. And what I mean by that is our energy goes out and it connects with other people, sometimes intentionally, lots of times not. So once we recognize that our energy is automatically connecting to others, then we start really to regain your power. You want to get back into checking in with yourself. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Is this right? What am I thinking? What's going on inside? Because we need to recognize what's ours and what's not ours. If you're always around somebody who drags you down and you start feeling badly, there's something going on there. You're picking up their energy. Lots of times as empaths, we think we'll feel better if other people will change. But that's not the way to do it. Instead of wanting other people to change, we want to accept them as they are. This is the way they are. And we also don't want to just open our energy all the time. What we can do as well to reclaim our power is to set a boundary, an intention in the morning where we have a boundary, an energetic boundary around us that only positive energy enters our space or something like that. Okay, and that will help so that we can stay in our power. We have to become self-aware. That is the only way you're going to get back into your power. And then remember everything I talked about earlier in terms of learning from every situation. When we learn more about ourselves, that's going to help us get back in our power. Okay. Yeah, Bridget says being an empath is helpful as a therapist for me and for the client to feel heard and understood. Yes, and good teachers are really good at that too, to be able to do this. Okay, Dawn, I'm in a fog. Will I regain my clarity? Well, that's more of a psychic question, so I'm not going to necessarily answer that way. The nice thing about a fog, Dawn, is that once we shine the light on it, the fog dissolves. So let's touch in with your soul and see what I find in there. Okay, so what I'm getting right away is I'm getting two colors, green and pink. Green is the healing color. Pink and green is also the heart color, as is pink as well. I immediately saw a rose quartz, and for those of you who love crystals, rose quartz goes with the heart because it symbolizes love. And unconditional love. And so those things popped into my head right away, Dawn. And sometimes when we're in a fog, what happens is we focus on the fact that we're in a fog. I'm in a fog. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And instead, what we might do is check in. Again, I like to talk about checking in with ourselves a lot. Check in with ourselves and remind ourselves that our soul knows the answers. Sometimes we think we're in a fog, and it certainly can feel like it. But what might be happening is the energy is working behind the scenes, getting everything set up for you. So when the time is right, you'll know exactly what you're supposed to do. So we are never stagnant. We are never stuck, even though it might appear to be, because the energy is always working. So I would suggest for you, Dawn, that because I saw the green and the pink and the heart energy, I would suggest that you work with an intention along the lines of, I am my soul's love, or I am the love of my soul, or I am love, or I am my soul, something like that, because I saw the love energy. Okay. And since we're emphasizing the soul, so I am love. And lots of times for manifestation, people say, envision where you want to go and all of that stuff. But sometimes when we're in that fog, we can't really, because we really don't know. So instead, we want to move into trusting that the answers will appear. So another intention you might play with, only do one though, only one, not a really long one, not two, not three, just one. You might do, I trust my soul. I trust my inner guidance. I kind of like that one. I trust my inner guidance. And anytime you start worrying that you don't know what's next or you're in a fog, you just remind yourself, I trust my inner guidance. Your inner guidance is your soul, which is connected to the universal divine energy. So the answers are there and they will come. We have to be intentional with a lot of what we're doing in our lives. That really helps if we're intentional. Okay, let's see what else we got. What time is it? Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Well, here we are. What's a good way to open and clear the heart chakra? Okay, and I'm sure a lot of people would like that. Yes. Well, kind of similar to what I just said to Dawn. I am love. I am love. Say, I am love. Another way is to, of course, meditate on love. Something else that can happen is, okay, so there's a lot of music out there that you can chant to, sing to, etc. I'm a big believer in sound healing and using sound to shift our energy. And ah is the vowel that goes with the heart. You go ah, and doing that with love. What happens is the sound of your voice vibrates in your body, which can help accelerate the love that is in there. Don't worry about it being the right note. Don't worry if you sound good or not, whatever. Just you can go ah and just do that. Another thing would be Jonathan Goldman has a great CD out there, which is probably downloadable these days, called Chakra Chants. And there he goes through the whole chakras. And if you tone with it, it takes about an hour to do the whole thing, but you could go just to the heart one. But if you do the whole thing, it really can make you high because it clears out your energy of so many of your chakras. So those are a couple ideas to help. Okay. Yes, it's 9:02, so I really have to wrap myself up here. Juliet says, I always drain myself for other people. I can't do it anymore. And that is perfect. We have to prioritize ourselves. We are here to live as our soul, to live in our soul's truth, the truth of love and light. That means we love ourselves enough to not give all of our energy away, to not drain ourselves. We want to be in that love. So we have to protect our energy. It is not selfish to protect your energy. It is not selfish to prioritize yourself. It doesn't mean you don't love other people. And sometimes we still help other people, right? But we don't have to drain ourselves to do it or sacrifice our own needs or wants. So it's really important to stand strong in your truth there. Stand strong. Okay, so y'all, I should probably wrap it up. Check out my retreat, Reimagine Your Life Retreat. You'll find it on my website, ColleenVanderZuyden.com. Go to lilydaleassembly.org or Lily Dale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook, and you can find out all of the workshops that are happening and see what's going on there. For my retreat, we got so much. It's going to be so much fun. We've got amazing people going already. already. So, and we're in a beautiful, beautiful setting, the most wonderful place, beautiful hotel that has everything you could need. And early bird pricing ends April 3rd, as does the hotel discount. So, if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I usually get to them, though I have so many places to find messages, it can take me a little bit to find them all, but I will get there. And so don't worry, I will find you. Hey, Jan says, join us. She's going to be there as well. So I hope to see y'all there next week. Let's see. So y'all know, again, who I am, Colleen Vander Zuyden. I volunteer my time for this show for Lilydale Assembly. It's one of my acts of service so that I can help other people on their path so y'all can live your most amazing lives full of love and light and joy. That's what we do. Thank you for being here, Debbie. So I'll be here next week. Don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll probably do more soul readings because it's fun. So y'all have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.